Everybody, welcome. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We wanted to focus on census participation. We are at a critical moment because most households across Connecticut have now received their paper forms in the mail if they have not filled out the census via the internet or via the 800 number. We're very excited to announce that Connecticut has had 53.1% of its households fill out the census. So we are well ahead of the national average, and we continue to lead the northeastern states around us in our response rate. That said, we have work to do, and that's what we will be speaking about today. We need the remaining 47% of the households across our state to complete the census. And it's really important, especially now, that we are dealing with the COVID crisis, because disaster relief, hospital funding, Medicaid, Medicare, the federal school lunch program, and breakfast program, which many municipalities across our state are continuing to use to help feed children and families that rely upon that program. And almost every municipality in the state has been using that federal funding to provide grab and go meals. So we wanted to take this opportunity to recognize how well different municipalities have been doing along the shoreline and Eastern Connecticut. And at the same time, we wanted to talk about what strategies towns are using to make sure that the remainder of their households complete the census. In the past, this past year, Connecticut received almost $11 billion in federal funding. We anticipate that much, much more will be sent to us this time, because we are a federally designated disaster relief state. So more than 11 billion is going to come to us based on how many people we have. And that is why this is so very critical. So I wanted to go through the percentages for each of the towns that have joined us today. I will say that New London County is at 53.9% participation, which is 0.8% above the state average. So congratulations. And we have Ledyard, which is leading the way at 61.4%, along with Waterford, that has 63.2% participation. We have Stonington at 53.1%, North Stonington at 54.6%, the city of Groton at 52%, the town of Groton at 53.6%, Old Lyme at 42.3%. There is an issue there which Tim Griswold and our census partner will talk about as to why that looks a lot lower. And we have East Lyme, 57.6%. So we want to thank all of the municipal leaders and our state legislators for joining us today. We are going to hear from each of our legislative partners who've joined us today. We're going to ask that our legislators and our municipal leaders who will speak after our legislative leaders limit your remarks to just a minute or two, because we want to make sure we do have members of the media who've joined us, and we want to allow for time for questions. And we really appreciate all of you taking time out. I know our municipal leaders and our legislative leaders have been using their social media platforms. They've been using their networks to promote the census, and we really appreciate everything that you're doing. And we wanted to announce as well on this call that all of our legislative partners, the Census Bureau and our municipal partners, are going to be receiving 2 videos that are about a minute or a little less than a minute long. There is an English version and there's a Spanish version that emphasizes the importance and the safety of filling out the census. And we really, really appreciate everything that you all are doing. And we really wanted to get the message out, as people have been mailed their census forms. And the other thing I'll say about the percentages that I gave you is that they change every day. So every day at 3 o'clock, you can go to the US response rate census map, and at 3 p.m. every day, the numbers will change. So every day at 3 o'clock, you will find me looking with optimism at that map and seeing how we are doing. So with that, I'm going to introduce Jeff Beller, who leads the Northeastern region for the US Census. And he and I have been on the trail and on the virtual trail for the past year and some months. Jeff, we appreciate your being with us, and we'd love to have you talk about the new timeline that's in place and what you are seeing, and then we're going to go to our legislators. So Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor, and kudos to you and your team. It's amazing what Connecticut has done, being in the heart of the COVID-19 epic pandemic, and just to see where 53.1% it's due to the work that you've started throughout the state, creating that foundation of trust, that foundation of education that allowed other partners throughout the state to jump on. So thank you for all that you're doing, and your team, as well as the state senators and representatives, the local mayors, selectmen and selectwomen have been fantastic. So congratulations. We still have some work to go, but over 840,000 households throughout the state of Connecticut have responded to the 2020 census, and that's something to be proud of. Let me just give you a brief update on our schedule and mention our mailing number 4, as the Lieutenant Governor mentioned. That's the first time a lot of households across Connecticut will receive a paper form. And that mailing was scheduled to go to every household that has yet to respond to the census, right around April 1st through the 5th timeframe, when they prepared basically the mailing list to be sent out. We've had issues at our mailing facilities due to COVID-19, where they've had to shut them down for cleaning. We've had staffing issues. We have to practice social distancing. So our goal was to have everything out by the 16th of April. That has now shifted to April 30th. So there is a possibility that some communities in Connecticut have yet to receive that paper form. We're asking for their patience. All paper forms should be received by households throughout Connecticut no later than April 30th. Okay. The last thing I want to mention is the schedule change. And a week ago from this past Monday, the Director and Commerce Secretary issued a joint statement announcing a proposed schedule change. And this is based upon a request of a statutory relief from the one date that's in the law in Title 13, and that's by December 31st of 2020. We are required by law to provide the apportionment counts to the president, who then passes those along to Congress. We have requested a 120-day relief, basically asking to move that date to April 30th of 2021. Doing so, that allows us to really change our operational schedule to adjust it based upon the needs of communities based upon the COVID-19 pandemic. And there's two key dates that I want to mention regarding that proposed schedule. The first is the first is the mail out, mail back, or the self-response period. So the time that people have to go online, to call it in over the phone, to fill it out on paper. We're under this proposed schedule, we're moving that date to October 31st. So that gives plenty of time for people to self-respond to the census. It gives time for partners such as yourselves, if we do have the ability to bring people together, maybe not as many as we planned before, still practicing social distancing, but bringing people who may not have the ability to go online or may not understand the census. That gives us some time over the summer to host activities and to provide resources for individual households to fill out their census form. But we don't want to stress that, hey, you have until October 31st to fill it out. We want people to fill it out much sooner than that, because again, regardless of when you're filling out the 2020 census, we're asking you about the status of your address as of April 1st, 2020. So the further away we get from April 1st, 2020, we do have concerns that quality could go down. So the date we're really focused on, and the second date I want to mention, is the date we plan on starting to knock on doors of every household that has yet to respond. Non-response follow-up, the largest operation we conduct. We're planning on knocking on doors beginning August 11th. So if you want to push a date out there, we want people to self-respond before August 11th, so we don't have to send people out there to knock on their doors. We're going to change the way we train people, the way they actually conduct the work, to incorporate social distancing and to reduce the risk of jeopardizing the public's health as well as the health of our employees. So those are kind of the two big dates. The proposed schedule is available on our website at 2020census.gov. But I'll just close with saying, again, Lieutenant Governor, thank you for your tireless efforts. It's been amazing. You brought so much energy into the Census Bureau, and particularly to the New York region. We love seeing Connecticut lead the way, and we look forward to continuing working with you. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor.
Jeff, thank you so much. And now we're going to go to Senator Formica, who will be followed by Senator Summers. And again, we're just going to ask everybody to be brief, because we have an impressive array of legislators and an impressive array of local elected leaders. Senator. Do we have Senator Formica with us?
He has to unmute himself.
Okay, you need to unmute.
All right. Yep. I'm sorry.
There you go. All right. Awesome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you to all, but thank you, Madam Governor, for your leadership on this issue and moving this forward. Very important opportunity. Every 10 years we have to redefine and our seats in the United States Congress, the redistricting that would occur here for our seats, the local Senate and House Rep seats. But equally as important as representation is the snapshot of where the services need to be most effectively provided. And I think that's the main importance from my view on this census and how we get going, so that we can really meet the needs of the people here in this country, and specifically here in the great state of Connecticut. So the question as posed was, how do we reach people? And I think in this pandemic, that's the most difficult part of it. And we have, as was said, notices in homes. How do we get to them safely, and how do we get them to respond? And I think that's where the brainstorming needs to begin. But thank you for the opportunity to join you today and say good morning, and thank you for your good work. And I hope you all.
I appreciate that, Senator. And when you were talking about programs that need to be funded, you reminded me that I failed to mention Pell Grants. Student loans for college is huge. It's one of the biggest items, along with Medicare and Medicaid. So I did want to point that out as families are looking for how to pay for college. That is another key point. With that, we are going to move to Senator Heather Summers, and she'll be followed by Representative Christine Connolly. Senator Summers. Okay. We do not see her when she gets on. We will go back to her. We'll have State Representative Christine Conley. Nice to see you virtually. And she will be followed by Representative Dela Cruz. Representative Conley.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I do apologize if you hear the construction noise behind me. They are building a Chipotle directly next door, and this seems to be a loud construction day at the work from home environment we're dealing with. So more folks will be coming to the area, workers and folks, and the census is so important for things not only like business funding, so how Chipotle realized we had a large group of young people here in the Navy base is some of the census data. So the folks, the census data that we get is very important for business growth. And right now it is 10 years out of date. So now's the time that we all do our part to help our businesses and not only help our state. We've seen, I'm sure the other representatives can agree with me, so much need from our constituents about unemployment, food stamps, health insurance with COVID, and having an accurate count of who lives where is so important so that we can assist statewide, but then come back to the federal government to get reimbursements in this time of crisis. So it's so important that everyone takes a few minutes. As everyone does know, I do have the Navy base, proud to have the Navy base in my district, and we do have a special census rule for the Navy folks assigned to the base, that their home for census is not where they take their taxes, it's their home locally next to the base. The Navy, I know they're a strong partner in the census. They did send out an all-call message to all members of the Navy who are stationed in and around Groton, Connecticut, letting them know the special census rule. And they also did do some social media that I saw over the last week, reminding people that their local address is their address for the census, because we want to make sure that those 5,000 folks are counted here in Connecticut, so that resources are accurately given to Connecticut. And I know we're all doing the best we can in these times. So I'm going to follow our good Lieutenant Governor, encourage people to fill out their census so that we have less of a need for folks to come home to home and possibly risk getting sick this summer. So altogether, we can get a better response. 53.9% is great for the county, but let's get it closer to those 3 digits that we do need. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you so much, Representative Connolly. And I want to thank you for mentioning the SNAP and food stamp and WIC programs. Those nutrition programs have seen a huge spike. The state is seeing 4 times the number of food stamp applications, as our unemployment rate has now topped 390,000 applications that our Department of Labor is in the process of going through. And these safety net programs are critical now more than ever. So we appreciate that point. And we are going to now go to Representative Joe Dela Cruz, and he will be followed by Representative Kate Rotella. Representative, nice to see you there. You have to unmute. Can I do it?
You guys got me?
Now, there you go. You just a reminder, you got to unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah,
nice
I'm on the phone, so it's hard to see. It's so small. It was the eyes that failed me. I just want to say thank you guys for holding this. I'll be really brief. I'm just telling folks that if you wondered why it's important to be counted, now's the time because of the COVID. And we don't want to tell folks that they're just a number, but when they're trying to decide where they send dollars, we're seeing it loud and clear now, or that they're taking numbers of how many ventilators go in a certain area, or what kind of food they're getting sent, or the money in dollars. So thank you guys for doing this. I'm just going to sit back and listen to the rest of this. But again, thank you for your leadership.
We appreciate your being here. Thank you so much. And now we're going to go to Kate Rotella, State Representative Kate Rotella. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for holding this, and it's great to see everybody virtually. It's so nice, isn't it, when we're all working from home to have these Zoom meetings. So I'm going to be brief. Again, thank you for all of this. I am trying to push the information out to our community. And again, it's so important, as you've all mentioned. to get this filled out and get it filled out online. I did it myself the other day, and it literally took me less than 5 minutes to do. We want to keep your census workers safe and not going door to door if they don't have to. But I continue to tell people how important for our towns it is to get this done. Our federal dollars are distributed based on the census count that we put out there for all sorts of programs, in addition to our representation in government, and how businesses are looked at, and some of the business decisions that are made based on our census. So again, thank you all, and I will let you take over.
Hey, thank you so much, Representative. We really appreciate all of your hard work, and we are going to now move to our local elected CEOs. And what I'd like each of them to do is to talk about what they are doing at the local level, given the challenge of the COVID crisis. Because I know prior to the pandemic, a lot of towns, complete count committees were focusing on big community events, fairs, festivals, parades, large gatherings that are not part of the immediate future anyway. So we'd like you to talk about what you've been doing in your town to get the message out to your constituents. And we are going to start with the City of Groton Mayor Keith Hedrick. Mayor Hedrick, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for your energy and leadership on this effort. In the City of Groton, I want to thank Liz Porter, who is our Complete Count Committee Chairwoman for the Town of Groton, and Paul Duart, who is the Chairman for the City of Groton. We have a very diverse and strong of men and women that are on our committee. One of the things that we're doing is we're reaching out to the faith-based organizations. We reached out to the U.S. Navy. I know Adam Wright will be recognized later, and he can talk about what's going on there. We've also reached out to the libraries and the League of Women Voters to get their assistance and help. But some of the things that we've done, we have a strong Facebook presence. We are ordering banners and signs. The banners are going to go over the major roadways, just like if you're advertising for a parade or an event. So that'll be there. We're also ordering signs that are similar to campaign signs. So we're going to order 50 of those. We're going to put those out in different locations. We may rotate those in order to get more touches, to get many views, to remind people about the 2020 census. We have done 2 public service announcements, one in English, one in Spanish. And we put those out. We're probably going to put those out again on Facebook. And for us, it's about the number of touches. You want to get this, you want to inundate people with the census so that they're motivated to filling out the information, because we have a very diverse community in the city and in the town of Groton. We use, for example, the federal lunch program. We definitely use that, and that's extremely important, along with the other programs that we do and the money that comes in this direction. So those are the types of things that we are doing in the town of Groton and in the city of Groton in order to get our numbers up for the census and for the complete count. Thank you.
Mayor, thank you so much. And I just want to give a shout out to Mayor Patrice Granatoski, who couldn't be joining, but I know that the city and the town of Groton are working very, very closely. And thank you for mentioning Adam Wright. Adam, you are our sub-base representative, and we're going to be having you speak after our municipal leaders. So we appreciate your joining us as well. And now we are going to Mayor Fred Allen, who leads the town of Ledyard. And please give us some insight, because Ledyard is one of the highest self-response rate towns along with Waterford. So tell us your secrets, but tell us also how you're going to get the other 48% of the folks to fill out their census.
Yes, thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you, fellow legislators and my counterparts. It's an interesting time, to say the least, in terms of how to get the messaging out. We are primarily focusing on social media, which has done well. We are using the marketing rule of 7, which is, as Mayor Hedrick said, essentially 7 communications before we get effective transmission of the message. But we've done well with that, and we've done some things in terms of messaging, making it personal. I did a brief video of me sitting there saying, I just finished the census online. It took me about 8 minutes to do for a family of 4. So I connected it to myself for those that follow me. I also did one on a less than hospitable, cold, rainy Saturday morning, where I said, it's a great time for a cup of coffee in your census. And, you don't want to go outside, so why not sit down with a hot cup of coffee in your census on your computer and get it done? And we got a lot of responses from that one. That was an easy one. Again, it was just a few minutes of time on a Saturday morning. You're not going to go outside and do anything. So that worked out well. The other thing that I always like to connect with, and people in Ledyard and elsewhere obviously care about the dollars. So I made a direct connection to funding. I talked about, for every $1 million of funding that is received, we left about $200,000 on the table in the last census because we weren't counted accurately. And that always strikes a chord with people when they're thinking about their own federal tax dollars and how much of it flows back to the state. So that message worked well too. The other one that I've done too that's been helpful is kind of a debunking campaign where I had some questions of, well, the census wants to know how much I make. And I say, no, I can tell you exactly what's on there for questions. I post the questions. Here are the questions. Nobody's asking you how much you're making. Nobody's reporting you to the IRS. So please don't think of it that way, but we just need to get an accurate count. And I explained the history of it. So that's primarily what we've been doing. I also want to thank Gail Bradbury, our library director, because she stepped up and took an immediate active role in the census work in town. So we kind of have a 3-pronged approach with our Ledyard Community Forum, my own social media presence, and the library's work as well. So between the 3, I think we've done well, and I think the number is showing that, and we need to step it up and keep going for the top number. So thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Fred, thank you so much. And a couple of key points for every person, and Fred, thank you for mentioning this, for every person we miss, that's $2,900 for a year. So it's $29,000 to a town, to a Board of Ed, over the course of a census cycle, over the course of 10 years. So that's really important. And as I mentioned earlier, Mayor, I'm glad you did a public service announcement. We are going to be sending 2 videos, one in English and one in Spanish, to all of our mayors and legislators to put out on their social media. And I do think that one of the reasons we have had such a good response rate thus far is a potential silver lining to the COVID epidemic is a lot of people are at home. So while you're there, get on the internet, get on your smartphone, get on the 800 number and get that done. So with that, we're going to move to First Selectman Rob Rule of Waterford. So please tell us how Waterford is excelling, but how you're going to get the rest of your constituents to sign up.
I think I'm unmuted. Yep.
There you go.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. First, I got to give a shout out to all of our healthcare workers. We all know them. We appreciate them. So thank you to all of them. Waterford was unique, and I'm proud of the efforts that our town has made. It's about building a house, really. It's a foundation. Before this ever even started, Lieutenant Governor, we created a complete count committee back in December and we had everything kind of lined up. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not.
Yep, you're
Okay.
loud and clear.
Okay.
You're good. We see you. We hear you.
Thank you. But we had a complete count committee started back in December with all influencers. We recognized influencers in town, business owners, people that were key in the community, leaders. So we did that. We also did a video. I sent it to you in your office, Lieutenant Governor. But we did a video. We have 73 languages in the town of Waterford. So we made sure we incorporated as many language and as many people as we could in our community. But I have to give I'm going to be short on time, so I have to thank Roz Rubenstein, our library director, who was the committee chair. She went out there every day and polled people. The library is very, critical in these types of situations. And the reason I think we're probably the highest response rate was because of Roz's work. Her commitment to all the influencers in town. The Board of Education's been wonderful. When you said, what are we doing now to go from 63% to 100%? What we're doing now is similar to Mayor Hendrick. We're doing banners, we're going to do signs. We've done a video, and the video was well received, had a lot of hits. I've been online, I've been on Facebook as well. But we also, we're taking advantage of distance learning now. I think distance learning is one of those things where we can use that as a plug for people as well, with people being home. It's about a culture of community. It's about reaching out, not stopping. I think this is a great diversion in what we're all dealing with as leaders in our towns. I think this is something that Facebook is obviously our go-to. Signs in town help, but it's a matter of, like what Mayor Allen said, personally getting out there and letting people know this is the thing to do. It doesn't matter who you are, where you live, this does impact all of our lives. And I think for us moving forward, we're going to continue personal messages on Facebook. We're going to continue to follow Roz's lead with the complete count committee. And we're going to come out with another video, if that's possible in this short amount of time that's been in the works. And I think that's really what we've been doing. I can't think of anything else. I will stand for questions if anyone has any. And I appreciate your time in hearing us out today. And thank you for your dedication and commitment to this, Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to First Selectman Mike Urgo, and Mike is going to be followed by First Selectman Tim Griswold. Mike, tell us what you're up to in North Stonington.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Bysiewicz. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here. Yeah, we are excited about the census here in town. And like some of the other towns, I would certainly like to credit our library executive director, Amy Kennedy, who's on the call as well. And we've been working on getting the word out there through a number of ways. I do a weekly update, which I've been kind of pushing that in there, but really trying to rely on the trusted voices within the community to kind of talk about this. It's important that, you know, they're hearing it from a few different areas, people that can, that people in town know and trust, so that they know that this is an important thing to do, but not just from the government or the municipality's perspective, but, you know, because it's important for our country and for us to obviously secure the funding that comes from this as one of the reasons for doing it. We are going to look to do some more signage around town as well. I've got a few signs that I'm not using for COVID-19 that I think I'm going to try to put some census information in, just to be a reminder right now at this crucial time. And also looking to utilize the schools to try to get some more information out that way as well. So fairly happy with our response rate at this time. We do have a long way to go. We're a rural community, as you know. So, you know, getting the word out is a little bit different here, but I think we're trying to take all the right steps we can. And we appreciate all the support and the tools that have been provided to us to help us have some success. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. And what I'm going to do, because First Select Woman Cheeseborough was having difficulty with her mute function. So she provided an update, and I want to make sure that everyone knows that Stonington has a nonprofit roundtable with 40 organizations that are helping to get out the census message, that they've asked schools to include it in their updates to families. And they're continuing to push social media with different posts, just like we heard from Ledyard. And she likes the Ledyard idea, so thank you, Fred. And they have a town blog and email that will be going out this week. So Danielle, sorry about the technical difficulties that we've been having, and we appreciate your leadership and your hard work. And we're going to go to Tim Griswold, and then after Tim, we are going to go to Adam Wright from the subbase. So Tim, please go ahead.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Do you hear me all right?
Yes, you're great. You look good too.
Well, I guess we're pulling up the rear here at 43%, but Dana Bennett from the U.S. Census contacted me on April the 14th, and we discussed, tried to look into why. And when she checked our map and specific areas of town, we deduced that the problem is that our seasonal cottages are, of course, have addresses in town, but a lot of the seasonal people do not live here. And as a result, those cottages and addresses have not responded. So we're going to have an insert for our tax bills so that when the tax bills go out, the people can see that in their tax bills, and we can encourage people, even though they don't reside in Old-Lyme, they should fill out the form in a negative way and at least get our response rate up. But we too are using different ways to communicate. We will be, the selectmen, we put out a quarterly newsletter. We have cable access. I think we'll put a sandwich board at Town Hall with talking about the census. And so I think we can engage our Chamber of Commerce to go out with information to everyone. And I think now the people are more or less sequestered in their homes, I think it'd be a good message to say, well, please help us out on this front. You have some extra time, hopefully, and that will work. So we're looking forward to getting our percentage up. And we think that the tax bill insert might be a helpful thing to do. Thank you.
You know what? That is a great idea, putting a census insert in any kind of either tax mailings or townwide mailings is a great idea. And I've been encouraging mayors and first selectmen to think about partners in the town that have really robust email lists and social media presence. So those include public libraries, superintendent of schools who have emails for every family, the first selectman or mayor's social media platforms, and hopefully some of you can contact. I know Tony Sheridan is part of our statewide census committee, and the chamber, your Shoreline Chamber, has a very robust list. So they are also a great partner to utilize. So now we're going to go to Adam Wright from the subbase. Can you please talk about some of the efforts that you are making, because the base is a big place, as Representative Conley has said, and we look forward to hearing what you're doing.
Well, great. Well, thank you, Lieutenant Governor. It's a pleasure to be here with everyone. I have the pleasure of working on the Town of Groton Complete Count Committee with Liz Porter, the chair, a bunch of great diverse people who all have their own areas of expertise. And I'm the community planner for the subbase. So I am interfacing with subbase, trying to get the count up for military members and families. Want to just quickly thank Representative Conley, Mayor Hedrick, Mayor Granatowski for their great support as well in everything we do. Active duty military is one of those hard to count communities. They tend to relocate a lot. when they come here, there's always a time where they don't even feel like they're part of the community till they're here for a little while. So we've heard anecdotally, and also I think it's shown in historically that they are undercounted, and in a town like Groton, it really hurts because there's so many of them. So we're really focusing on that. My connection to the Navy allows me to get public information out quickly, and basically some of the tactics we've used so far. A lot of, as Representative Connolly mentioned, Facebook and other social media posts. We're trying to keep that going, so it's a constant drumbeat. Public Affairs Office at the base, the Morale, Welfare, and Recreation Office, Fleet and Family Services, and our Navy housing partner, the Public-Private Venture Housing, Balfour Beatty, is also pushing it out through their site to their folks. And they do a lot of their communicating that way. So I think that's helping we're keeping up at least with the town. There's 2 key census tracts where all of our Navy housing is located. So that's where we really are focusing and trying to explain to people what the rules are. Basically, you're counted where you live most of the time as of April 1st, where you live and sleep. So we're foot stomping that. We've got banners coming. I'm going to put those on the commissary on base, which is open, and a lot of those folks shop there. So it's a direct in your face reminder. And I think this summer, once things open up, a really effective outreach campaign will be having an event or 2 right in the housing areas. There are public areas, there's public meeting areas, playgrounds. So I think once everything's out and we're going, probably work with the town leaders and our complete count committee, Representative Connolly, to do an event and have it be outside on a nice day. And that way we'll be able to get people come right up, hand them information, or maybe even sign them up right at the moment. So that's what we're trying to do. I heard some great ideas today too from all the town leaders here. So I'll be taking those back as well and try to incorporate those into our sub-base effort as well.
Well, we so appreciate your leadership and your service. Thank you all the panelists for your great discussion. We are also joined on the call with some members of the Groton Complete Count Committee, and those include Albert Colon, Mary Jo Riley, Liz Porter, Jennifer Meal, Adam Thomas, Sally Booth, and Nikki Gluckson. So we thank all of our Complete Count Committee members who've been doing a great job. I know our state wouldn't be at 53% were it not for the 156 Complete Count Committees that are working very hard locally because this is a massive field operation. So we appreciate your hard work. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask, because we have a number of media partners who are on the call with us, and we so appreciate your joining us, and we appreciate the fact that you are on the front lines trying to get the important news and information out to people in your area and across the state, because we have some statewide media and we have some local media with us. So we're going to ask if our media partners who've joined us today have any questions, and we're going to ask that they use the chat function. And we're going to give our media partners a minute to go ahead and post any questions that they might have. And we have this very distinguished group of panelists who'd be happy to help if there are any questions. Now, I do understand that there were a lot of us, and we were very happy to have participation from so many legislators, from the Census Bureau, and from our municipal leaders. So we're going to give our reporters one more minute. And if not, I'm sure that they know where to find each of you. So I know that the day, WICH and several other TV outlets were joining us. We really appreciate their participation and seeing no questions because you all did such a great, wait, sorry. Okay, so I spoke to soon, Jeff Baylor mentioned that there's a new schedule. Are these proposed changes or are they already implemented? Sally Booth, that was a great question. So Jeff, are you still there? We're going to have you answer that.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the question. This is a proposed schedule because, again, we were requesting statutory relief from Congress on the date in which we have to provide the apportionment counts to the president. This schedule is based upon us receiving that approval. So it is a proposed schedule, for now. We have been working closely with Congress and updating them on our plans and things of that nature. But until that gets its final approval, these will be considered proposed changes.
Great. Okay. With that, seeing no other media questions, we thank everybody for coming. We really appreciate it. And please look in your emails for hour or two videos in English and Spanish that you can push out to your constituents. We'll be doing it at the state level, and we appreciate your leadership. Thanks, everybody.
Governor?
Thank you.
Yes.
Could I ask a question, Mr. Baylor? Might there be an insert that we might have that could be put in our tax bills, for instance, or handed out, something that could be put in just a regular envelope size type thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a bunch of materials available on our website at 2020census.gov. If you want to take a look, if you find something that you think would fit, has the right messaging, we have half pagers, we have full pagers. Let us know, and what we can do, we can direct ship a large amount of those to whatever address you provide that they could use for an insert. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.